Three, two, one. Happy Saturday, everybody. Welcome to the smartest guy in the room. Jerry Dempsey, your host, joined again, as always, with my good pal, John Matthew Otis Smith.
Happy Saturday. Big day for me today, man.
Why?
I'm getting my second shot, my second vaccine.
Do you do a shot when you get a shot?
I will do a shot when I get a shot, if someone wants to do a shot with me. I'm always up for a shot.
Were you down after the first one? Like, I heard people get, like they feel like they've been beat up.
You know what? I was prepared because all these people I know had side effects. I did not have any side effects. I did not even have a sore arm. But that said, some people say, well, you don't get side effects till the second one, so.
Do you remember when we would be in like high school or college and we get drunk and punch each other in the arm just for fun?
Yeah.
I know. I wish I could have done that right after you got your shot. How's this feel?
You'll have your chance.
I wanted to say something clever about being the smartest guy in the room, because this came to me. Trying to be the smartest guy in the room is like trying to force, and I'll be politically correct, but it's like trying to force a BM in the morning. If you try too hard, you're going to fucking hurt yourself. So just so I know. That's awful.
All right. Well, that's why I'm never the smartest guy in the room.
Stick to my day job. Thanks.
I'm not only never the smartest guy in the room, I don't ever care to be.
Yeah, but let me ask you.
Yes.
Don't you enjoy being around smarter people and like hearing smart people say smart things?
Yes, I do, but that is different from the smartest guy in the room concept, because I don't like being around people who are aggressively showing off their intelligence because they think it is impressive.
Well, yeah, but that's just one part of why our concept is so interesting, at least to me. Because, again, genius isn't like something like if you're 5'11" and you weigh 200 pounds, you're pretty much going to be like that every fucking day. But like people that are really smart, and I've met a few of them, like really smart, like an Albert Einstein kind of Tesla person, they'll tell you, well, I do a lot of fucking dumb things. So
right.
Genius isn't like perpetual. It isn't like always on. It like fucking shows up and then it leaves. And then the rest of the time they're a regular moron like everyone else.
But yeah, the right? way you just described it reminds me of, the people, New York City people have this reputation of being, aggressive assholes and arrogant and blah, blah, blah. And what I've always found, because I worked with a ton of people who either lived in New York City or who grew up in New York City when I was a journalist, I always found the people who actually grew up in New York City were some of the most down-to-earth people I've ever met in my life. But the people who grew up in Connecticut and then relocated to New York City, those were the assholes. Those were the people who fit the stereotype, and those were the people who, for our sake, were the smartest guy in the room. They were the ones who acted like New Yorkers. They were the ones who, in a meeting, tried to be the smartest guy in the room. They were the show-offs.
Well, I used to work with this guy in New York City. Jersey people are different because they're angry and they always like have an edge because they're like New York City's angry little brother who's got like Napoleon syndrome.
Yeah, they're like New York City's penal colony.
Yeah, good. Yeah, that's a good one. This guy used to say sneaky smart all the time. It's like acting dumb so you can manipulate other people because, you get them to reveal how stupid they are when they think they're actually schooling you. It's difficult to do, but like they used to do that back in the day. I think there's an old-fashioned term, laconic, I don't really know exactly what it means, but you could look it up. But it's like, it's part of like the stoicism world where saying less is more. And you might appear dumb, but you're actually smart by keeping your fucking mouth shut and then being more like observant of the world around you. But to your point, people with big mouths that are flashing the cash and got the Rolex and just fucking can't talk enough about themselves and how great they are. I mean, those are the best people. I love those people. Those are the
Well,
people
yeah,
I like selling to because I like taking their money.
well, yeah, that's an interesting point. I think we both know truly rich people who don't come across as obnoxious or they're humble people, and then there's people who think they're rich and they're the ones and they love to show it off and they always walk around with a wad of bills in their front pocket and they love to take it out because they think they're impressing people.
Yeah, I agree.
Those are the smartest guy in the room types.
Well, and those people just worship money, which leads me to our topic of the day, and that is religion. I mean, you and I were both brought up Catholic, right? You're Catholic by birth.
Yes, I am.
Were you ever an altar boy?
No, I was not, but I used to go on the annual Crystal Beach amusement park altar boy trip
With what
with Queen of
church?
Heaven.
Really?
Yeah.
Did I ever
So
go
all
with
the
you?
kids in my neighborhood were Queen of Heaven altar boys, and they were some of the worst kids on the planet. But every year the church would take all the altar boys to Crystal Beach amusement park in Canada, and I would always hop along, and it was fucking awesome.
I only went to one of those. I
Did
don't
you?
remember you being there. Yeah, I mean, I was an altar boy at Queen of Heaven forever.
Yeah.
Like even after I served mass when I was in high school, couple, not all the time, but I did a few times. Just I don't know why. But I mean, that's where I had my first drink. Was drinking the church wine after mass. So there's that.
Yeah, it's good for something,
nothing,
right?
nothing like going back to fifth grade math with a little bit of wine in you. You know what I mean?
Hey, fucking being drunk is the only way I could get through a math class
Yeah,
without
I
pain.
mean, but it's interesting. You try to remember like why you believe. Like we were brought up to be Catholic, and personally, I would never. I mean, I probably term myself because I don't go to Catholic church anymore. I go to some non-denominational thing with my wife, and I like it better. They have like a rock band. They played Dark Side of the Moon one time, and like my kids like it.
Yeah.
And the guy's not overly preachy, and there's a bunch of the preacher guys, and they just talk for like an hour, and they go through the Bible, but they really try to blend everything in today's world so it's more applicable.
What kind of
But
church is it?
it's just some Christian thing.
Is it a universal Unitarian church?
I don't fucking know. I mean, I really don't. It's fine. It's just I think they're called non-denominational. I don't know. But
Yeah.
they're nice enough people, and like I said, it's an hour. We watch it on TV now, which really suits me because going to church and sitting in a room with my itchy church pants on,
Yeah.
like I'm not into any of that. But if I can just sit on the couch and watch it from TV, uh, actually get a little more out of it. I pay more attention.
Yeah,
So
I stopped going to church, and it was a very difficult decision for me. It wasn't anything I took lightly because I used to, and this has only been like 3 years. I stopped going to church, 3 or 4 years, and I used to like going. I didn't subscribe to the Catholic dogma, lockstep, and but I liked going once a week and sitting there and like kind of just getting inside my head and you know uh that was my time to mellow out and think and uh but
check out chicks.
Easter Sunday when I was growing up was the best time to go to church and scope, but I digress.
Were
But
you
yeah,
the one that told me about my brother Matt?
what's that?
Somebody, one of my friends, and I thought it was you, could have been someone else, said they saw my brother at like an Easter service, like really making a spectacle of his looking at some hot women while he was going up to get communion.
I
That
could
wasn't
imagine.
you?
No, but I could
You would
imagine
remember it if it was you.
it wasn't me, but I could imagine, he'd be one of those guys smiling, winking, pointing,
What's interesting about him is he probably had the Charles Manson type charisma with
Yeah.
people. And I'm surprised he never formed his own cult because I feel like he could have. He had that type of disgusting charisma that most normal people could see right through. But then there are some of among us who, like, I'd like to think that if I met Charles Manson on the street, especially after knowing I'd have been like, get the fuck away from me, you weirdo. Whereas some people look at him and said, "Oh, he's our savior." So you know what I mean? Like one man's,
He did have a charisma.
yeah. Again, I too close to it, I guess, to see that part of it. But I can see his appeal for about a half hour snippet of time. But go ahead.
You mentioned cult. There's the big cult that's gained national, if not worldwide, recognition lately. And the cult leader just went on trial and got sentenced to like 60 life terms or however many.
Yeah,
It's
that's
that
funny.
Nexium cult.
Oh yeah,
It's like the sex cult. That's right here in Albany.
is it? Is that where it started?
It's yeah, like right outside of Albany in Clifton Park, which is where our guest last week, Lucas Daniels, grew up. Um, and I got a friend. There's been a couple documentaries out about it. There's been several news magazine shows about it. One of my best friends was actually covering it for since it happened. He's starting to write a book about it. Maybe that can be a show one day. But yeah, cults.
Wait,
The
what
whole
is that? I don't know. I know of it. I know about women getting tattooed. Can you give me
they
a little
got
more
branding.
color on that?
They
What's
got
that? What was that? Go ahead.
I don't know. They got the guy would brand them. To me it basically I couldn't really understand where the religion came in that cult, and it sounded like he was just building up a stable of sex
But that's what
slaves.
most of these, and I hate to throw every religion, and I won't do it because lumping in is never a smart thing to do. But a lot of these cults are based around money, control, and sex.
Yeah, the word control, and I think that applies in a broad sense to the way a lot of people look at religion. That you're trying to be controlled. Um, I liked going to church. I was not one of these Catholics who left because of the sex abuse scandal. Um, because I had the opinion that, especially having been a journalist, journalists will get brushed with, get whitewashed with the same brush. They're all, liars and you can't trust them. And same thing with cops. And so I kind of had that attitude toward priests that you know,
Snake
not
oil salesman.
well, no, that not all priests are bad, So I didn't leave the church because of the sex abuse scandal. Although the way that the church as an organization or an institution handled that was deplorable, and
Yeah.
you know, people at the top in the Vatican should go down. Uh, but then there were some things that were happening in Buffalo with Catholic Charities while the scandal in Buffalo, which reached the kind of uh, looking for the right word, the kind of notoriety that the Boston scandal had reached. The sex scandal in Buffalo was on 60 Minutes, and I started paying real close attention. And Catholic Charities at the same time while they were calling for the resignation of the bishop in Buffalo, Catholic Charities decided it was going to pull out of the foster child and adoption business because New York State had passed a law that prospective adoptive parents can't be denied based on their sexual orientation. And I was thinking, who is doing the public relations for Catholic Charities? Like, was it really important to make that decision to pull out of the adoption business based on the sexual orientation law at a time when Buffalo was in the national spotlight and the bishop was being, the public was demanding he resign for the way he handled the sex abuse case? I'm just like, that's bad timing. That's bad form. It's arrogant. And that's ultimately what pushed me to say, fuck it. I'm done. And I do miss going to church, but there's an arrogance that surrounds organized religion and there is a control aspect, I guess, for some people, but I do miss sitting in church and reflecting and.
Yeah, I just remember the first time. I have like a really weird memory that I can remember like things when I was like 3 and 4 and 5 years old. And I remember distinctly going to Queen of Heaven and seeing Christ on the cross and Matt telling me, if I get out of line, that's what Mom and Dad were going to do to me.
Did they
Matt
build a cross in the backyard?
He upside down one. The Aussie years, we called them.
I used to write upside down crosses on my notebook in high school because I was in the Black Sabbath.
Yeah, my sister brought home tarot cards because for whatever fucking reason. And my parents thought they needed to have like an exorcism and they burned them in the backyard and made it big. I mean, it's fucking crazy. I wanted to
Speaking of Ozzy, I went to see, my dad and mom were like Catholics, and they weren't overzealous Catholics, but they had that old school blue collar, they were raised in the church. They all went to Catholic school. I don't even know how much my dad knew about the Catholic Church, but he was just like, you can't do this, you can't do that. And I went to see Ozzy when I was growing up on Good Friday. And this is right at the height where, like, he was in the news all the time for
eating bats
heads. And so my father was like pissed at me. He's like, you're going to hell. I still went to the concert though.
Oh, that's too funny. So interesting enough, I did a little bit of research because I'm always curious about religion and how it came about. And I remember reading a long time ago, and I'm no Marxist by any stretch of the imagination. I don't know. I'm an anarchist more than anything else if I were to sum it all up, because I believe in the individual, not the fucking group. But that said, Karl Marx is given credit for penning opium. No, what is it? Religion is the opiate of the masses. So, I mean, first pass, like if you just landed on this planet from somewhere else, what the fuck do you think that would mean to you? Like, how would you interpret that? I'm just curious.
How would I interpret that if I was a new visitor to the planet?
Like, I mean, I don't know. Like, yeah, if I'm just somebody from wherever, and I'm like, well, what the fuck does that mean? Like, when you read that, what do you think that means? Pretend like I'm 10 years old and I'm asking you.
On the surface, I guess it would just mean that it's used to drug people.
Right, but I mean, so it's not that like I'd ever, because at the worst case scenario, I look at the world and go, well, someone had to fucking make this shit. Like, our bodies, nature is too amazing to just say, oh, this all happened by fucking accident. Because that's what scientists would like to believe, right? I mean, isn't that Big Bang Theory or what's the other one? I mean, I've listened to some famous atheists, and what's interesting, especially the smarter ones, the trouble with getting really smart is you there's like law of diminishing returns, which is you start thinking you know more, and you get too in love with your own opinions that you're more inclined to shut out other people's opinions. In other words, the smarter you get, the dumber you think everyone else gets.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Listening, some of the top atheists are the most annoying people on the fucking planet. They are the epitome of the smartest person in the room.
Who annoys you the most? Because I have
I,
one.
I can't give you the names. Like I'll watch certain like news magazine shows, or I'll even like the Bill Maher show, and he'll have atheists on, and I just find them annoying. Uh, I guess if politically I'm on the left, I'm a leftist, but some of the most well-known leftists are fucking annoying because they don't think anyone knows any more than they do. There's that whole
Yeah,
than now.
it's yeah. Like I try to watch the left media because I try to like take in all the opinions just to hear what people are saying.
I do the same. I the news I
And
consume.
there's just an arrogance. I mean, it's on the right for fucking sure. So don't think I'm protecting or defending any of those people, right? But I mean, I don't. Again, since it's everywhere, I would just put a pin in when you start acting arrogant, like you fucking know. When I know for a fact you don't, and I can see through your bullshit. There's a point you have to know you're bullshitting people, and people aren't going to listen to you past that point. That should bring you back to some kind of center of humanity. Like I'm a human, you're a human. Let's figure this shit out together. Um,
I agree. I can most news I consume comes from the right because I want to. I don't understand people who consume news that just validates their own opinion. I like to listen or read a lot of the news that comes from the right because I want to like try to understand what the hell they're thinking. And you're right, the left has a real problem of arrogance. And the right, I think, they come from a place where it's always like you're just going to put a stick in your eye. It's not so much arrogance, it's like this contrarian, response
but wouldn't
to just about
you?
everything.
But wouldn't you say in our world today, religion has taken a back seat to this political system?
Absolutely.
And, you know, like the things that I was reading an article in preparation for this is kind of funny. And I know what a big fan you are of lists, so I won't say it's a list. But it was like it was a list, damn it, of the shittiest things that have come from religion. And I'll just read through a few of them, and you can pick one that makes you laugh. But the chosen people, a heretic or infidel, holy wars. These are all things brought to you by religion. Blasphemy. Suffering is good, or the idea of that to suffer is good. Thinking flail yourself, right? Go flail yourself, boy. Genital mutilation, which both you and I have had our cocks cut. That was like the first thing they fucking did to us when we were born. Here's the worst one, I think, for you. No eating pork.
Blasphemy.
How fucking awful is religion? The idea of hell, right? Oh, you're going to hell. Like you even said it already.
Yeah, religion's
And
fucked up.
here's my worst, eternal life. Because I've been married for 16 years, so I kind of feel like I already know what that fucking feels like.
20. Yeah, Christ. 27 here, brother.
Just kill me, please.
Fucking can't come fast enough.
Exactly. But now, so we've had a little bit of, deep dive, and I think, you and I are not intellectuals, and if I've ever felt like I was, I might flail myself for that. But like, so a couple of my favorite religions, I mean, I gotta say, fucking hands down, snake handling is my number one favorite religion. It's got practicality. I mean, I don't know if you know the history of it, but it was started in Appalachia along with, making of moonshine. So I don't know. I think if you get drunk enough, you think you can handle a snake, or you have so much poison already in your system that the fucking snake's poison is not going to hurt you. But when you hear about snake handling, talk to me. What does that do to you?
All right, you throw out these religions that interest you, and I'll examine them. So snake handling. Here's my problem with snake handling. They are the people that speak in tongues, so they're lying. Because nobody speaks in tongues. They're bullshitters. I was watching some documentary where this guy was fucking speaking in tongues and handling a snake and showing off. Then the snake bit him, and he died.
Yeah, because he was probably a sinner.
Yeah, well, he died because he was a liar.
I mean, it's like a witch hunt because, right? If a witch floats. So if we throw you in the water and you don't float, you're not a witch. That's the good thing. Bad thing is you're going to drown. So you're fucking dead because you're a witch.
So snake handlers are they're out because they're big fat liars. And
I got another one. They're fucking liars. Yeah, and they let little children get bit by snakes. Do you know there's a religion called Jediism?
Tell me about that one.
Well, I don't think I have to. I think you know all about it.
Well, I'll tell you why.
They worship Star Wars.
They're out. Jediism is out because I don't like science fiction. I never saw a full episode of Star Trek. I saw the first Star Wars movie in 1977. I thought it sucked, and I never saw another one again.
Wait a minute. You and I had to be like 10 years old when that first one came out, yeah?
Yeah. I was 9. I went to see it when I was 9.
And you hated it then?
Couldn't stand it.
Interesting. Because I was into Star Trek with the Kirk, and I liked the Twilight Zone. But I can't say I was a big sci-fi freak because I know what sci-fi freaks look like, and I don't associate with them. You know what I mean?
Twilight Zone was cool. I don't know.
But I mean, it's still science fiction in a way, right? I mean,
well, okay, put it this way then. I don't like the science fiction that deals with spaceships and, I don't know, aliens and.
Did you watch that show Lost in Space with like Dr. Smith and Will Robinson and all that?
I didn't.
Yeah, I liked that show, but I hated Dr. Smith.
I think I watched it for like 10 minutes, and I was like, "This ain't for me."
Were you more of like a Gilligan's Island fan?
Oh God, I was really into like H.R. Puffin stuff.
Yeah, but that was just a drug-addled tour, right?
Yeah, speaking of, I think my mom laced my food with LSD.
Yeah, well, whoever was writing that show was definitely that, and the banana splits, right? They were fucking doing something.
I had a banana splits lunchbox.
Did you really?
I did. So I was a SEAL Marty Krofft guy.
Yeah. I had a Mickey Mouse. I fucking hated it. I hated Mickey Mouse.
That's a show for another day. That's a show for another day, Disney. I can't stand Disney.
But that's like a religion too.
Yeah, it really is. But I do like to collect anything vintage that deals with Mickey Mouse. And really? I think that comes from the appeal of the 1930s, like Mickey Mouse cartoons that were in black and white. And
I thought he was a rat first.
Yeah, he was kind of a rat. So, all right. So, snake handlers and Jedis, they're out.
What about Pastafarianism, which is like Rastafarianism, but instead of smoking weed, they're eating spaghetti.
These are the people I love and I can believe in. Because I love pasta, and they pray to the flying spaghetti god, right, or something like that.
Yep.
And that whole movement is really, it's pretty much an atheist movement, isn't it? because they're
yeah, it's a total mockery of religion.
Right. They're poking fun at religion, but they're doing it in a far less obnoxious and arrogant way than your basic atheist is doing it.
They're out to have a good time, and they're not hurting
They're out
anybody.
to have a good time, and they eat pasta, and I love pasta.
My favorite thing that I know about the Pastafarianism is that one dude, they wear the spaghetti strainer on their head, part of their outfit, right? And this guy somewhere, probably California, but got the DMV. Somehow he litigated or got an attorney, but when he got his driver's license picture, he is wearing a colander on his fucking head. And the DMV wasn't going to let him, but he said, "You are restricting my religious freedoms." So he got an attorney, and they, allowed him to get his picture taken with the fucking, spaghetti strainer on his head.
So here's the thing.
He's the smartest guy in the room, just as I don't want to be a spoiler alert here.
Well, when I was a kid, and this is why I think that religion appeals to me too, because when I was a kid, I used to walk around with my mom's spaghetti strainer on my head. Yeah. It wasn't like one of these big plastic ones you see now. It was like this metal, it was like almost like a fishnet, but it was made out of like metal or steel,
Sure.
And it fit perfect. It was small and it fit perfectly on my head. And I wore it around all the time. So I think I was, I naturally gravitate toward this religion. The only thing that could scare me off is the Pastafarians. Their triglycerides must be really high from all that white pasta.
I don't know. What's triglyceride? Is that like?
It's like fat in your blood and is caused by like sugar.
Oh yeah.
And so like, white pasta is not good for you if you have high triglycerides. It can give you high triglycerides.
Well, that is a good health tip. You should get a job writing for Men's Health or some shit.
May I ask you something?
Yes, sir.
I noticed today as I were talking about religion over in your left shoulder,
I got him. Yeah.
Got the crucifix. Is that intentional today, or?
That's. I mean, he's been there the whole time.
But he's prominent today.
Well, I made sure he was in the shot because of our theme. I mean, a couple weeks ago, I had Evel Knievel in the background.
I saw.
Because he's a personal hero of mine. Yeah, who didn't?
I can't believe you still have it, though.
I actually bought it a few years ago on eBay for an undisclosed amount.
Good for you. Smart.
Well, we'll take it home from here, but like one of the things I noticed as I raised my son, I started because I hate today's TV, and TV, as you know, is the number one educator of our children.
It's the number one babysitter.
Statistically, yeah.
It was.
So I started showing my son all this shit I used to watch as a kid. And I showed him a video of Evel Knievel doing the Caesar Palace jump. And then we ended up 2 hours later watching every Evel Knievel video I could find on YouTube. Yeah. And then I showed him that thing. I told him how I had one as a kid, and he's like, "I wish I had cool toys like you, Dad." So I went on eBay and bought it.
Hey, I want to make one thing clear. I don't in any way, shape, or form, because this is prominent too. A lot of people who are lapsed Catholics now, they kind of hold this, they look down upon the Catholics that stayed, and I'm not about that. So I want to make that clear. As a matter of fact, I've been working for the last year and a half on a book about the Catholic Church in Buffalo, and because it had such a huge presence in that city, and now it went through this national scandal, and it's and the scandal took a major toll on the way the church is viewed in that city, which is significant because the church always played such a significant role in that city. And I've been trying to write a book about it. It's not an anti-Catholic book. It's not a pro-Catholic book, but I've been interviewing a lot of Catholics who stayed, and even some people who came to the church during the scandal. And I've been interviewing a lot of them to try to like just get inside their head. And, you know, they're all disgusted as well. You know, no one's not disgusted, but like the reasons they told me they stayed, like one person told me it's, you know, it's the only place he can go to get communion. Another person told me that the church in his community provides a sense of community for his family. So people have their own reasons. Not everyone follows a religion or goes to a specific church for the same reason. Everyone has their own reasons, and I think that's cool too. So I just want to point that out. The book's suffering a little bit right now because of COVID. COVID destroyed my mojo and ability to interview people and travel, but I just wanted to make that point.
Well, people need something to believe in for sure.
That's what the band Poison said.
You know, well, yeah, I think the Boss on his Nebraska album has a song called Reason to Believe, and it's a theme throughout existence. I mean, for as long as man's been alive, you know, the earliest recorded religion, I looked it up, some form of Vedic Akhenaten. It's like a Egyptian guy or something. But back then they used to worship the sun, they worshiped the earth. I mean, which we still should, because, you know, it's really the fucking only thing we got. But I want to close it, and I want to reach out to our listeners. We've been gaining more and more listeners, and that's very encouraging. So I want to thank anyone who's listening to us. We appreciate the support. Feel free to send a comment, whether it's on the iTunes or on Spotify, or you can email me directly at GERRYWDEMPSEY1 if you'd like to hear us talk about a subject or just send some comments or even some criticism. You want to bust my balls, have at it. And then I think we have some T-shirts, Matt. Do you want to tell our folks about that?
We've got some really, really snazzy T-shirts. And, you know, summer's coming up. You want to look good, the warm weather. You want to shed that sweater. I know I want to shed my sweaters.
That's a good-looking sweater.
And, you know, you want to replace that sweater with a really good-looking T-shirt. And we have Smartest Guy in the Room T-shirts. So go to 1120press.com. 1120, the numbers, press, PRESS.com. Go to the shop's link and get yourself a T-shirt, because you'll look damn good in it. I promise.
They're awesome. And I mean, every time I go out, the women are always trying to talk to me, which is annoying, being that I'm married. My religion is I believe in my wife, I guess. Anyway, on that note, buddy, good talk. Keep trucking. We'll see you next time.
Man.
Take care, buddy.
Eat some pasta. Bye-bye.
Yes.